Alrighty, folks, we are going to go ahead and go through the Kahoot for properties and states of matter. So let's see what nickname I'm going to be playing with. Epic Otter. I will take it. I like it. All right, here we go. The properties and states of matter Kahoot. Question one, which of the following is a pure substance? So remember, our pure substances are going to be atoms, elements, or compounds. And the only one of these that is carbon. Carbon is on the periodic table and therefore is a pure substance. Next up, which is an example of a heterogeneous mixture. Remember, hetero means different, and so we are talking about a mixture where I can see the different parts. And orange juice, or sorry, oil and water is going to be a heterogeneous mixture. Orange juice without pulp, air, and Kool-Aid all look the same throughout, so I couldn't pick out the different parts. Whereas if oil and water are mixed together, I can clearly say, hey, that's oil and that's water. Next question. Which of the following is an example of a homogeneous mixture? This is a mixture that looks the same throughout, and so that is actually going to be Kool-Aid. If I had sand, sand is a heterogeneous mixture because I can tell the difference between the different pieces of sand. You have little brown bits, black bits, clear bits, all sorts of bits. Hydrogen gas is just hydrogen, and so that is a pure substance. And carbon dioxide is going to be made up of all carbon dioxide molecules, which is a compound, which is another example of a pure substance. So those two are not mixtures. Question four. A soluble solute is a and this is going to be a dissolved substance. So when we're talking about soluble solute, that is part of a solution, and the solute is what dissolves into the solvent. Next up, which of the following is an example of a chemical change? A chemical change means that you cannot recover the original material, and that is going to be rusting. Once iron or other metals rust, you can no longer get back the original metal. Whereas melting, you could freeze the material. Mixing, you could technically separate it from the other pieces. And tearing paper, although it changes the shape, it is still paper. Next up, which of the following is a clue that a chemical change occurred? So we're talking about a chemical reaction, and if we are talking about that, we're talking about a color change. That is going to indicate an actual chemical change occurred. Next, I am a state of matter with moving particles that are attracted to each other. What am I? All right, so moving particles tells us that it is not a solid, and the fact that the particles are attracted to each other means that they are close together, which they are not in gas or plasma, so it means this is a liquid. According to the kinetic theory, what are all particles doing? All particles are in motion, is the kinetic theory of matter, and all particles are constantly moving. I am a state of matter that fills all available space. What am I? So a solid, if I put it into a container, it's just going to stay in the same shape. A liquid will take on the form of its container, but only as far as it can reach, whereas a gas will actually fill all the available space because the particles are spread out. So it is a gas. I am a state of matter that vibrates in place. The forces that hold me together are strong. So we are talking about something that is not going to change shape because the forces that hold it together are strong and the particles only vibrate, and that is a solid. Which statement best explains what happens when ice melts? So ice melting means that it's going from solid to liquid, and so that means that the particles are going to have more energy, therefore ice absorbs energy. Remember that melting is a phase change and temperatures do not change during phase changes. The phase change that goes from a liquid to a gas is, and that is going to be vaporization. What is sublimation? So sublimation is another phase change, and our example for this is when you have dry ice becoming carbon dioxide, and so that is a solid going straight to a gas. What happens to energy as a substance goes from a liquid to a gas? So remember, from liquid to gas, the particles spread out from each other and become more chaotic. And so therefore we go from liquid over here to gas over here, and so that means our energy increases. During melting, what happens to temperature? So when we are melting, if you look here on this chart, that's that first plateau, and melting, we look at our temperature, it stays the same. And that makes sense because during phase changes, temperatures do not change. Which of the following is an endothermic phase change? Remember, endo means in, energy in. And so we are looking for a phase change that energy goes into. And so for that, we are going to do vaporization, because vaporization is the only one where we go from a lower energy state of matter to a higher energy state of matter, liquid to gas. What state of matter makes up 99% of the universe? So this is the state of matter that makes up stars, and that would be plasma. Which state of matter has the most energy? So most energy means most movement, and the particles are most disordered, and so that is going to be a gas. During an endothermic phase change, energy is, so remember, during endothermic, energy goes in, endothermic, so that means it is absorbed. And finally, sweat cooling the body as it evaporates is an example of what? So, sweat cooling the body. Sweat is a liquid and it is going to a gas, and that is the evaporation part of this. And so remember, evaporation, in order for it to take place, it goes from a less energetic to a more energetic form of matter, and therefore it is endothermic. So it is an endothermic phase change. And there you go, folks. That's our Kahoot. So hopefully that helped you understand the questions in the Kahoot, and hopefully you are well prepared for our exam. Have a great day.